ocean.
We getting out there, man. We're looking for people, man. We looking for that big fish. Errol, is you out here?
No, he ain't out here. He's hiding.
Oh, man. Bring your ass out. I'm looking for you. I'm looking for you, Errol. Where you at? I'm in the ocean. You say you the big fish. I'm looking for you. Where your ass at? Oh, man. Well, you got a lot of room to hide in this motherfucker. I don't know if I can find you in the ocean. See, this the ocean big in the mother, man. We ain't gonna be able to find your punk ass out here. Got a lot of places to hide. Shit, man, we still ain't seen half of the ocean.
Smoke, Junior. They don't know what time it is.
T-Bug Crawford.
Yeah. Everybody know the champ is at 147 who the king is. And he's too small.
Against Sean Porter, that 11th and 12th round, he put the pedal to the metal. I mean, he got after it. He knocked down Sean Porter in the 11th, and in the 12th, he was going for the knockout. So he got after it.
He was going for the prize. The prize is the first one to knock out Sean Porter. That's what he was going for.
I know that's why he's a pound-for-pound star. Look, and Terence Crawford's in the audience. Just mentioned Terence Crawford comes off a win against Cal Brook, and he's already throwing jabs. Say this is what he's got to do. This is what I would do. Well dressed.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So you guys may recall about, a week or two ago, PBC spokesperson, Tim Smith. Shout out to Tim Smith. I know him personally. He works with PBC and he represents Errol Spence. And he basically said the reason why the Spence-Crawford fight hasn't happened is because of economics. He said that Terence Crawford is a great talent, but he just hasn't been built into a pay-per-view star. And he's saying that's the reason why this fight hasn't happened. Now, first off, there's a lot to unpack right there, but let me start by going back a couple years back and telling you what I said, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years ago. It was around the time that Terence Crawford had just moved up to the welterweight division. And I told you guys, that fight is way too premature. Let Errol Spence clean up his side of the road and then let Terence Crawford do the same. And when they're the two last men standing, that's when they should be facing off against each other. Shortly after I said that, Errol Spence, he did an interview and he said almost word for word the exact same thing. The headline read, "Let me clean up my side of the street first." Matter of fact, let me go ahead and quote exactly what Errol Spence said. He said, well, basically, let me clean up my side of the street. Basically, I'm saying my side of the street. You know, Al Heyman and Showtime. Let me clean up my side of the street and I'll come over there and take up that side of the block too. That's what I'm doing. I mean, we've got a lot of fighters signed with Al Heyman. We've got Danny Garcia. We've got Sean Porter. We've got all these, you know. We had Lamont Peterson. We had Keith Thurman, but he's doing whatever he's doing right now. So let me clean up my block. Then I'll come over there and take over their block too. End quote. And this is exactly what Errol Spence did. He cleaned up his side of the block. He beat Sean Porter. He beat Danny Garcia. And now he's about to fight Yordenis Ugas to unify or add another belt to his collection. So Errol Spence is respectfully disagreeing with the statement that was posted by PBC, because he's saying that the fight can and it will happen if he wants it to happen. This is exactly why we're getting the Yordenis Ugas fight. Yordenis was not built to be a pay-per-view star either. But the reason why they're fighting against each other, Spence and Yordenis, is because both fighters wanted the fight. Caleb Plant wasn't a pay-per-view star, and yet he was fighting Canelo Alvarez on pay-per-view. Lamont Peterson wasn't a pay-per-view star, and he got a fight with Errol Spence. Even though Sean Porter has been on pay-per-view many times, he was never built to be a pay-per-view star. And once again, he got fights with all of these guys. And let me say this as well. It was a lot of people in my comment section. Every time I made a video about Crawford and Spence, they would always say, because I would say, don't speak for Errol Spence. You let Errol Spence speak for himself, just like Terence Crawford is speaking for himself right now. And some of the people in my comment section, they would say Errol Spence has already said it. He doesn't have to say it again. Quote, let me clean up my side of the street first. So there you have it. Errol Spence will definitely be calling out Terence Crawford if he gets past your Dennis Ugas, because he has completely cleaned up his side of the street. You know what also makes this fight way more easier to make than it would have been 3 years ago is now Terence Crawford is a free agent. So you don't have to worry about splitting money with PBC and Top Rank. You don't have to worry about that anymore. It's just like when Errol Spence fought against Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia, he fought Errol Spence as a free agent. So that makes it an in-house fight. And right now, I'm telling you guys, the 60-40 split, all that talk, all of that's going to be resolved. When two fighters want to fight against each other, they're not going to allow a 60-40 versus 50-50 split stop the fight from happening. This is the reason why boxing teams negotiate, and they do it behind closed doors. They don't just throw out a number on the internet 3 years before the fight and say it has to be 60-40 or the fight won't happen. Regardless of what number Spence or Crawford throws out on the internet, things are going to be entirely different when they really start to negotiate a fight. And that hasn't happened yet. There hasn't been negotiations for this fight, but I believe we will see real negotiations if Errol Spence gets past your Dennis Ugas, which is not a guarantee, because your Dennis Ugas is a very, very dangerous fighter. But going back to economics, when it comes to economics, once again, this is what was in the statement by PBC. When it comes to economics, we already know that Spence versus Crawford will be bigger than Spence versus Peterson. It will be bigger than Spence versus Porter. It will be bigger than any fight that Spence has ever had in the past, and Terence Crawford. Once again, if both of these guys want to fight, there's no way a fighter is going to let his promoter or anybody tell him, no, that fight doesn't make any economical sense. You can't fight him. Go look for somebody else, Spence. Go look for somebody else, Crawford. Boxing doesn't work that way. Do you think if somebody told Canelo Alvarez that Caleb Plant is not a pay-per-view star, he hasn't been built to be a pay-per-view star, so therefore you can't fight him? You think Canelo is going to listen to that? Do you think Canelo Alvarez is going to pass up on a guaranteed win against an opponent that has no power and has a belt? Of course not, right? At the end of the day, if anybody is saying that Errol Spence, he's only going to be fighting fighters that have been built as pay-per-view stars, bigger than Terence Crawford, and Errol Spence is going to be fighting these type of opponents on a consecutive basis, boy, it's going to be hard to find those opponents. Like I said, especially back to back to back. This would be the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. This will be the closest thing to Sugar Ray Leonard versus Hearns, which is why I truly believe Errol Spence is going to call out Terence Crawford after that fight. I think Terence Crawford should show up. I think Terence Crawford should be in the ring, just like Errol Spence did when he was in the ring, or I should say just like Danny Garcia did when Danny jumped in the ring and he called out Errol Spence after Spence had been calling him out for quite some time, right? Just like Errol Spence jumped in the ring with Sean Porter. This is what we need to see to really kick off this huge potential fight. Now, on the flip side, let's say your Dennis Ugas pulls off the upset. Your Dennis Ugas, he already made it clear that he wants to fight Terence Crawford. He's already said it. He's made it very clear. Your Dennis said recently that he wants to fight Terence Crawford for undisputed once he gets past Errol Spence. And he hasn't said anything about a 60-40 split, and talks of economics and who's built as a pay-per-view star will not stop that fight from coming to fruition if both guys want the fight. With that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Errol Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to erroldequis.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.
My name is Chris, and I'm all the way here from Anchorage, Alaska at Scalp Carolinas, and I'm here for my second treatment of SMP. Well, I was sitting at home one day and going over my Facebook page, and they have different, like advertisements popping up, and I saw one for SMP, and I saw some pictures of some guys, a before and after, and I was looking at that, and it caught my attention, so I Googled it. SMP, nothing showed up in my area. So, I did a little more research, and all of a sudden, Scalp Carolinas popped up in the web browser. So I started watching his videos and seeing all the reaction from all the other people. We talked on the phone, we made appointments and everything. I sent him pictures, and he looked at them, and I was like, "Can you fix this?" And, he pretty much said, "No problem." My first session, he made me feel extremely comfortable. It was almost like I was talking to family. He started, and during the whole treatment, we talked and, about our families and our life, and, and things that he does and things that I do. And before I know it, the first session was over. When you see someone doing something that they love, as much as I see Enoch Glover love what he does, it shows in his work. I wouldn't point anyone in any other direction but here to North Carolina, Scalp Carolinas, to get this done.